So, ladies and gentlemen, this may be a little different to you. If you're on YouTube and you're seeing our beautiful faces, well, welcome in to the first video episode of From the Sidelines. We got a special guest here because, well, Evan got sick and, well, he flaked again. That's what Evan does. But we're gonna get right into it. As always, we got the guys. Austin Cade, how you doing, buddy? What's up, AK?
Chilling. Got me some videos, some
You can
better
see his
audio,
face.
hopefully.
Let's
There we
go.
go.
Let's go. And then we got the
Looking
man,
good,
the
bro.
myth, the legend, the mustachioed wonder, as Dylan called him last week. We got Stephen Hatch. What's up, Hatch?
Let's go, baby. We're back. We're back in action, dude, for another episode. What episode are we on, Ryan?
This is episode 19. Did I not mention
19. God damn, dude.
Almost
Well,
to
that's
20.
Perfect, because that's my number, so that's perfect.
Wait,
Is
it
that really
is?
your number?
That's...
Yeah, it's literally my number.
And if you
dude.
hear his voice coming in now and you're on the audio side, that's our special guest for this week, Ryan Doss. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
Sorry that you guys actually have to see Austin's face now, but hey,
You know,
wins a win.
I'm just
Yeah,
trying to compensate for yours. but-
take it as it goes. But that's definitely some like Hormesis like level magic there that we have you on for the 19th episode, just randomly like that. Speaking of Hormesis, I mean, I feel like we got to go into that right away. You've been doing a lot with that brand and that community and paintball in general, and maybe just want to talk on how that started, kind of what where that came from.
Yeah, it was a very random thing for me to be a part of Hormesis. I started working at Sac Paintball. I was kind of doing the whole college thing, and I got a job at Sac Paintball working with Corey. And Corey was going down to Field 1 a couple days a week, or I think 1 day a week. And, he started talking about this brand that Alex and Oliver were starting. And, at first, I was one of those individuals who, Sandana. I loved all my flying skulls. I liked keeping everything, like, very tan. I was very basic. And, at first I was like, stepping into headband market, I was very hesitant about, buying these headbands and stuff. Then all of a sudden, they started popping up. The Single Arrow series came out, and I was like, oh, okay, those are actually pretty cool. And the whole limited run thing, and, what he started with was really cool. And so Corey's like, well, do you want me to ask Alex if if you can come with me down to the shop? And, he was working for the Field 1 side. I was like, if he needs help, I would love to come down. And at the time, I think Alex and I probably had a couple interactions here and there. I hadn't really met him. He hadn't really met me. I think probably to this day, once I started going down there, that's when he started putting face and name and everything. And so Alex said yes. And I went down there for the first time. I went down there as a little schoolgirl. I was so nervous because, I grew up playing paintball, and Dynasty was this untouchable team that, I looked at them as these superstar athletes that are in this sport that I love. And here I am going to work for one of them. And, that first interaction, I walk into the shop and it's like, oh, wow, these are normal human beings trying to make a business and being very successful at it. And I walked in and he was just the nicest person in the world. And ever since then, I'm blessed because, Hormesis has taken off. It's become this huge movement. And I've been able to, help Alex as much as I can behind the scenes. And it's been really awesome because, I got to meet all these individuals within the community, and they're all over the US, and it's led me to some of the probably the best friendships that I have, outside of, the people I interact with in person. But it's crazy, this culture that he's created, him and Oliver, and, even Yosh, with Scintillas and all that. They have built this culture that is so positive that I could message some of these people that I've met today, or, like months back, but these people I interact with only online, and they would help me out regardless of the situation. People, that are very heavily involved in the culture, and it's it speaks highly of what Alex and Oliver have done.
For sure.
And,
No, and it's funny. It's funny you mentioned, first time going down to the office. I had a similar thing with like when I was heading down there for the Iron Kids documentary. Yeah, like you kind of have that thought in the back of your mind of like, I'm going to, Willy Wonka's factory. Like this will be dope.
That's what I was picturing.
And
That's
then
what
you
I was
get
picturing.
there and it's a tiny little, hangar, and it's definitely, humanizing for the whole crew, meeting guys like, Crandall, Yosh, Alex, guys who are in there every day, literally like most of the time we were in there filming for the Iron Kids documentary, Yosh was on the phone doing customer support with people. That's what he does like all day, every day. He's answering phone calls and he's telling people, hey, this may not be working. Maybe try this, send it into us. We'll help you out. Like, it's a really cool, humanizing experience to kind of see that behind the scenes of those guys just building out a business and, with Hormesis building out a larger community.
Yeah. I mean,
Amazing.
Like you said, you expect to go into these places and it's just like, the doors open, the fog comes out, and it's like, here's the secret to paintball. But realistically, dude, these are just regular guys who are very smart in business, trying to make their mark on paintball, which they've done on and off the field for years, and now they have these thriving businesses, and it's an awesome feeling to be a part of. But like, I cannot tell you how much value I have gotten just being in the same room and listening to them talk. And like, and you're right, Yosh being the phone, like on the phone, the second you call field one and you talk to Yosh, it's like that's the person who's behind field one marker, right? Alex and Eric and all these guys are just so smart and incredibly involved in this company that you're talking to those individuals the second you call them. You're not talking to a third party. You're not talking to individuals who don't know anything about the marker, right? These are the guys who engineered and designed it. And it's cool that they, are so involved with everything behind the scenes, and then they're also involved on the forefront of it. So, just being involved in this small little niche community, I've grown, tenfold because I'm able to see, this is what real hard work looks like. And don't get me wrong, I've seen hard work, military,
Yeah.
like all that stuff, but it's such a different environment seeing like these guys go after their passion because
hustle.
they have, exactly. They've hustled on the field. They have all the respect on the field, but God, as businessmen, they deserve just as much respect. It's insane. And Eric, I mean, fuck, man, that guy's smart.
Yeah.
That guy is smart. Just like the conversations, him and the others have, and like the things behind the scenes, dude, the guy is so smart, and he's such a big impact behind the scenes. Shout out to him.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, talking about Hormesis, I mean, obviously, we're going to get into your background on a lot of different things. You've lived a lot of life, I would say, in your years on the planet so far. But, one of your loves in life is dogs, especially Belgian Malinois. You own two, Dax and Zaya. Whenever, they show up to the field, it's always a great time. But yeah, so recently, with Hormesis, you guys were able to do, to give to a charity that meant a lot to you because it's about those, particular working type of dogs. Can you just go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so when I was in the military, I fell in love with the breed. The Malinois is such an incredibly smart and beautiful dog, and you can really see why police agencies, military have really switched over from the German Shepherd to the Malinois.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became obsessed with them. I mean, even talking to Toddy, my girlfriend, back in the day, I was like, oh, I'm getting a French Bulldog. It was like all the fat. I was like, oh, I want one. They're so cute. But then, like, sitting down and realizing, dude, I'm in love with Malinois. And, like, a seed just got planted in me when I was in the military. And then, like, a couple years ago, it finally just burst out of the ground and grew into this full-on love. And so we ended up getting a puppy. This was an accidental litter. Props to the people we did get them from. They did their background. They're like, do you know the breed? Do you realize these dogs are on basically crack cocaine every 2 seconds?
Hyper.
Yeah, just insane drive. And,
And they want to do something. They want a job.
Yeah, they need something. They need stimulation. And So the breeder, I mean, they're not even a breeder. They just happen to have two Malinois, and one of them just happened to get fat one day, and they thought that's what it was doing. It was getting fat, but then there was puppies in there, and so we got Dax at 8 weeks old, and the second he came home, he's the smartest little guy ever. Learned to sit. He was potty trained within 4 days. Like, the guy was smart, and so then we started looking for kind of this. We need something to help him kind of taper down his energy. Well, I love breeders. Like, if you find a good breeder, that's great. But a rescue, finding a dog from a rescue is such a meaningful kind of like fulfillment in my life. So we found this little scrawny Malinois. I think like 6 or 7 of our friends texted us the same picture. Like, Caitlin Boyum was like, you need to look at this girl. This female Malinois. She's on Greater Northern California German Shepherd Rescue. I was like, okay. So I look at it. And then Toddy texts me. She's like, look at what we just got sent. And there's this little scrawny Malinois. She's 35 pounds. She's either been hit by a car or she's, got this hip issue. And we fell in love. Instantly fell in love. And so we ended up rescuing her. We had to get a surgery for her, which the rescue covered. I mean, we were blessed in this situation, but the second we introduced the two dogs, they were in love. They were best friends. And this really kind of opened the doors for me. So I was blessed a couple months back with a Hormesis headband, and it was named after me. It was voted by the community, and a lot of it has to do with the work I did behind. And, I try to help as many people, especially when it was harder to get into the Hormesis community. I tried to help as many people get into it. I would bring blems home. I would give them to teammates. I would give them to people at the park.
I mean, Capital Edge was rocked out with Hormesises, and the main reason was because DOS. Like, yeah.
And that's what I tried to do. I tried to bring as much of this, like, amazing culture to the park, and that's what I wanted to do. And Alex loves Capital Edge, and he was on board. He was like, okay, let's get these people. We were able to get headbands for the team, stuff like that. And so then I got this band named after me, and my first thing I wanted to do was take one of the bands and basically put it up for auction, or whatever I could do to raise money for this mad rescue, which is Malinois and Dutch Shepherd rescue. And so we did an initial fundraiser. This was, I think we got $2,000. I was able to basically take 1,000 of it and put it towards this little Malinois. She was 9 weeks old. She had parvo. Like,
damn.
Basically, she was dealt the worst end of the stick. And so we were able to give send $1,000 towards her medical bills, which ended up paying it all off of what they had spent and what they needed.
That's
so
good.
She's been thriving. Her name's Little Roo, and so she's thriving. And then I basically took the other 1,000 and I sent it to Mad Rescue to do whatever. This was covering rescue fees, any medical fees, but basically if they could pull out as many mouse with that $1,000, they were going to do it. So
nice.
And now we fast forward to, a week ago.
All right.
I was on Facebook, and I'm a part of all these groups, and it sucks. Like, you see this every day, and I wish I could do, my goal in life is to have this ranch. I want to just rescue every dog. I don't care what breed, what size, what attitude. I would love
just
to
have your herd of 40
exactly.
mutts of just everything. Like,
videos,
just,
bro,
yeah.
and there's the floods of dogs coming in, bro. I love those videos.
Exactly. I mean, there's no feeling in the world than having just dogs who love you. And
you can't
it's
be angry
unconditional.
being around that. You can never
Right?
get mad being around that.
And that's ultimately, like, if I won the lottery today, this house would be gone. I would be putting cash down, trying to close on some huge ranch somewhere where I could rescue as many dogs as possible. And then, if people came and found their dog, or like a dog they wanted to rescue, so be it. But I would keep hundreds of dogs and hire hundreds of people to take care of those dogs. That's my goal in life.
So you just moved to like middle of nowhere, West Texas, just get like
Wherever
1,000 acres and just
Yeah.
dogs. Like, we got dogs.
And the great part about it is I found a partner that's on the same path, right? You know, Toddy, she is the exact same way. She wants to rescue as many dogs as possible. So I'm scrolling Facebook and I find this poor female mount. She had been hit by a car, left for dead, and you know, the rescue was basically they sent out a cry for help. And unfortunately is in Southern California, and she couldn't be moved because of her medical condition. So I was like, well, shit, what can I do to personally help this dog? And so I'm looking back here, right? This is where I keep some of my headbands, and you can't really see them, but on top of my gun safe,
they're in a safe location.
You put them in a safe location. I was like, realistically, I'm not gonna wear some of these headbands. You know, I collect some, I get rid of some. You know, it is what it is. I have this
personal favorites.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I look at my headband and I was like, I've done it once. I might as well do it again. This is probably one of the most valuable headbands to me, at least. But a lot of people had reached out to me and they're like, hey, I want to get your community band. What can I do? I was like, well, I gave most of them away to friends. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. This is my last one. This is my personal one. I'm going to offer it up. I'm going to try to get, you know, $1,200 for this headband, and I'm going to donate all of it to this medical female Mal that needed the help. And I posted that band up. I literally 15 minutes later, the entire auction was filled up. Like the Hormesis community behind like these causes is unbelievable. And then I'm getting messages like, hey, you know, can I at least donate some money? I don't even want part of the auction. I just want to donate to this cause. And so here I'm like sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, well, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to, you know, auction off this band and someone's going to go home with it. And I, you know, no hard feelings. They're going to have my last band. And I just got this literally flood of people trying to support. So we passed the 1,200 goal. We got to 1,500, and I was able to send $1,500 off the next morning, right? And I you know, a lot of people reached out and they were still trying to donate. I was like, okay, well, you know, I posted the link for the rescue, and just an amazing group of people within that community. And I can't shout them out enough. Everybody who helped support this poor female who had been basically the lowest point of her life, almost dead. And we were able to not only cover her medical bills, but we actually covered another one. His name's Lieutenant Dan. He's a 3-legged dog. We're actually able to cover the rest of his medical bills. So, you know, and he actually just got adopted, which is really cool. I just last night I got the notification that Lieutenant Dan got adopted. Cool. He's going to have a loving family, a great rest of his life. And then the female that was stuck in a shelter that had the medical issues, she actually got rescued by another rescue. So she's going to be able to get, find a better home. So really unbelievable. And and now she's on the phone with our rescue coordinator. I think we're going to get a third dog. We're going to be rescuing another one. Her name's Rose. Yeah.
And it's a Mal as well.
Yeah. It's a Mal. She's in between the sizes of Dax and Zaya, but so the battle continues, right?
So I know,
trying to help as much.
I know it's 2 of you guys. You both love them. You're great at taking care of them. 3 is going to be a lot. 3 high energy Mals.
It is. But the way we look, and the way we look at it is we've had 3 dogs in this house before. We had a Husky German Shepherd rescue, and that thing, it put the Mals to shame. Huskies, if you have a Husky out there like Corey, the guy I work with, dude, those things are on another level. Like, there's a lot of energy in them, but at least like my Mals, they listen. Dude, Huskies, they have their own attitude. They're either going to listen to you or they're going to do their own thing and not listen to you and still have that same energy. So respect whoever has a Husky. Unbelievable. But the way we look at it is, if we go somewhere out in public, we try to take 1 dog at least with us. And if I have 1 dog with me, that means 2 are at home expending energy together and they're able to keep each other company. Whereas if I had 2, I take 1 with me, 1's left at home, and that's going to be the destructive point. Yeah. And so and we're able to help another dog. So
Okay.
yes, it's going to be hectic, but it's going to, get us off our butts, and we're, forced to train them and keep them, keep them stimulated, everything like that. So it's only going to benefit, pulling this dog out of a rescue and stuff like that. So it's going to be a good thing, I think. And, worst case scenario, the rescue they've let us know they can always find a better home, but I don't think they'll find one. So we're kind of set that bar. So
No, that's funny. So it seems like you're definitely one of those people who is just dogs are your kids. You're not gonna have kids. You're just dogs. Just
we'll have kids eventually.
Eventually,
okay. Yeah, our friends are, everybody's starting to get to that age. My best friend, who
That is my kid, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they are our kids. If you know me, they have outfits like their vests, their collars, everything like that. They're super
My dog's got
expensive.
shoes, bro. My dog's got shoes.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely treat them as kids, but at the same time, if these dogs misbehave, there is the certain corrections, and they can go in their kennels, where kids' kennels really don't mix. That's when you get the authorities called on you.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I miss the good old days.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll have kids, and obviously our friends are starting to get to that age where, everybody's starting to have kids. My best friend has a kid, and she's beautiful. So, the thought is there, but, when we're ready, and
of course,
we're not going to rush into it. Time is.
No, you're good. I was more so making a joke. We didn't have to be this serious about it. Hey, AK, are you ready to have kids, Austin? You ready for that, man?
Hell no. Dude. Not for a minute. I'm gonna wait till my money's right before I wear anything.
That's
smart. That's
yeah,
a smart
definitely.
thing. I wish the rest of America was on board with that, but
Bro, I have like a list that probably has like 1,000 reasons why I don't want to have kids, dude. Like one of them I saw the other day, dude. Like number 7,000 was like I saw this kid. I was grabbing my sandwich. I was like grabbing my sandwich from Porta Subs or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. There's a fucking kid standing by an ATM, just by himself, maybe like 8 years old. Bro, sticks his hands like in his fucking pants, like goes fucking digging deep, bro. Like fucking going around in there and fucking touches all the buttons on the fucking ATM machine.
Oh,
and
God.
I'm like, oh my
man.
God, what the fuck, dude? Where are your parents, bro? What is that?
Parents?
What is that? Where's the kennel, dude?
Where's
yeah,
the
I mean, there's a lot of
That's
times
when we
you're
put
out in
them in the
public.
kennel.
The
You're out in
leash.
public, and
The
it's just
leash.
like that. You hear them screaming, and don't get me wrong, not all kids are like this, but there are some ones out there. They are just monsters.
They're screamers, bro.
And Toddy and I look at each other. We're like,
Ooh.
yeah, third dog over
Like,
a kid
really?
sounds really good.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand. Like you see those situations, and it makes you like question. You're just like, yo, I don't
Dude,
know
now you
if I
can't
really
spank them.
want a
And now
kid.
you can't spank
Yeah.
them. God
Yeah,
damn it.
Just shout out to all the parents out there. 'Cause you deal with a headache that I have not dealt with. I mean, well, actually, I was in the military, so I dealt with kids just on a different level. I didn't have to wipe their asses, really. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I did want to, ask you about kind of your background in paintball. I mean, you're technically a retired professional player. You were rostered on a pro team for a pro event, so that counts, right?
I mean, yeah, but dude, paintball has been around in my life for so long. I was talking to Alex about this yesterday, actually, and I actually started. Up
Oh,
in
and by the way,
Tahoe.
for the audience, every time he says Alex, he's talking about Alex Frazier, but
Alex
he's
Frazier,
he's
yeah.
cool like that, where first name
basis.
basis.
I mean, the man's my boss. And I like to call him a Fred now. He, again, the nicest guy in the world. He will do amazing things, I swear, and he already has. But I was talking to him about this yesterday, and because we were talking about a snow trip, and he's a skier, I'm a snowboarder, sky urchin, all that stuff. And I was talking about Homewood, and Homewood's the most underrated mountain up in Tahoe. And I actually started paintballing there. You literally rented a Tippmann 98. You took a ski lift to the top of the mountain. There was woods ball courses up there, and that's where I played paintball for the first time. I went with my buddy Danny and his dad, and it was the greatest time ever. And that's what really started me off on this, money pit of a career, or not even a career, of a hobby. And I've been attached to it ever since, through the military, the high school, everything.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I mean, I've been in and out of paintball, like everybody has, right? You always quote unquote quit, but you never really do. You always come back, you find your way, because the people involved are just the reason why you keep playing. I mean, the friendships I've made, I mean, some of my closest friends, Dylan Boyum, Jordan, I can really say that, most of the DMG guys I am really good friends with, and we hang out outside of paintball almost every day. Well, not every day, every week, I would say. But and now it's become, the
More
girls.
average teammate for sure.
Yeah. And now the girls are best friends, right? Toddy and Caitlin and Lauren and all these girls are, they're involved with paintball indirectly, but now they've kind of become best friends. And so we have this really unique circle of friends that, I mean, I wouldn't have had without paintball. And
oh, for sure.
It's kind of like the military, right? All my friends are across all the U.S. because of the military and different stations and getting out, going back to real life. And same with paintball. I have friends all over the U.S. and you can attest to this as a media guy, right? You guys are close knit because you guys do the same stuff and go through the same struggle every day, trying to create content and, make your own path in this sport. And you become really close with those friends. So, I have friends all over the U.S. like Matt Ingalls, and, he came to visit me in Monterey when I was stationed down there. I mean, just all these people who the sport is very unique and it brings you close together because, you only get to see each other 5 times a year, maybe.
You want to put yourself out of the way to see that person, Yeah.
And it's very unique. And it, I get asked this all the time in the shop is, you spend how much traveling for paintball? Or,
I hate when I get asked that. I hate when I get
and
asked
it's
that.
and you can't. Yeah, right.
Say,
Imagine paying more money and then just not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yes, a lot of it's for playing and everything like that. But there's another aspect to it. It's just the people involved are just on another level. I love being able to see someone across the entire event, and you just run over and you give them the biggest hug because you haven't seen them in months, and then you catch up, and then hey, you go and do your job out on the field. And that's the same thing if they're across the field. Like when we played, KC All-Stars. Dude, when we were playing them, it was a grudge match. It was like we were giving each other, 20 extra balls up the spine. And then now Todd Boyer is one of the nicest guys ever. I mean, those guys are amazing. And, so you can bury, you bury the hatchet and you move on and you try to grow the sport and you try to grow your friendship. And, it's unbelievable what this sport has done. And that's why I continuously come back. That's why I've been playing since 99. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit. Yeah.
What the?
Damn,
I
you're
was 2
old,
years old.
dude.
Holy shit, dude.
I know.
I was 2 years old. God damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was born in 89. I'm old. So, but yeah, I mean, I got into it in 99. Me and friends, I went to Tahoe, played, and then I brought this, almost like this infection back with me and got my friends into it. And, we had the spiders, and then we were playing out in the woods. We would set up these literal courses with woods and old construction stuff that we found, and these old, pretty sure they were homeless shacks that we just destroyed and never saw them again because we destroyed their homes. But we took all this wood and we created these fields out in behind one of our houses, and we were playing every weekend. We would go down to Ace Hardware, get our CO2 filled. We would buy 500 paintballs, go right back out, taking our bikes out there and go play more. And, we had some of the best times ever. Some of us got a little bit more into it. Me and my friend Blake, I mean, the dude was buying all the nicest guns. He had the Angels and stuff like that. So he got me into that. And, that's where I met some of my greatest friends back then. I met Tucker Benoit, who I just got back into paintball in the last couple of years, which is great. So I have, another relationship with him because he's gotten back into paintball. So
I'm glad you shouted out Tucker. He listens to the show. Shout out Tucker.
I
Tucker's
love
a great
Tucker.
ass dude.
What a beast.
Dude, Tucker was into it back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to him. I'm so glad he's playing again. Him and his brother Matt. Yeah, they were back into it. So it's it's yes, we've been playing for a very long time, but man, I don't think you could put an age on playing paintball. I mean, look at what Dynasty's doing at
Yeah,
40.
I
I mean, those guys are still winning pro tournaments.
For real.
Okay, so Ryan, I have a question on the record. I have a question for the record.
Yeah.
Are you coming out of retirement now?
You know, there's never really, you know, when I say I retire, there's never really a retirement, right? It's the same thing.
I knew that shit was coming.
well, didn't you
Yeah.
retire in 2017? Like,
No,
or
so
wasn't it a year after that? Because like I remember coming in for the documentary stuff, seeing you around the field, and then like that next year you weren't really around that field. Maybe you went to a different camp or something, but.
No, it was weird. So the initial documentary that you did for the semi-pro team when they earned their pro spot, I was, at the time, I was living with Jordan Boyum, and I had just gotten back into paintball. Obviously, you know, being around them, it's hard not to play the sport. They're going to the field every weekend. They were... You know,
it's like you want to hang out, come to the field.
Yeah, exactly. So they were playing D2 at the time, and I had just gotten back into it. I was playing, I think I played like a Sepal with some random team that.
How the fuck are you allowed to play a Sepal?
So, I mean,
Yeah.
Granted, I hadn't played in years, right? So ranking was weird because, you know, I had played NPPL, I had played older tournaments and stuff like that. And so I guess I'll backtrack. Okay, so how I could play Sepal. When I was stationed in San Diego, I played paintball down there. I met Victor, who he started San Diego Mob. We were playing local tournaments down there, and so I was playing for this team down there. We played MPPL. I messed up in a one-on-one and cost us a first place. Yep, and he reminds me every time. But yeah, off the break, I had track cleats on, so they didn't have spikes on the back. So I went to go step into a bunker and like step back and completely fell on my ass, and the guy shot me. Yeah, it was the greatest time ever. But
lawn chair.
But the best part is like the only reason why Victor didn't play the one-on-one is because he threw his gun and got ejected. So I had to play the one-on-one, which at the time I wasn't bad at one-on-ones, but he was definitely the guy to send out there. So I played, you know, down in San Diego, and then I got stationed up in Seattle, and the DBS program. Shout out to Danny and Dusty. They have created such a like beautiful scene up there. If the weather wasn't so crappy so many days out of the year, I mean that would be a huge mecca for paintball. But so I went up to Seattle. I got stationed up there for 3 years. And
DBS. Sorry, is that Doodlebug? So okay, yeah. Dylan shouted that out last week too. So that's 2 weeks in a row we've had people mention it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So what they've done up there is unbelievable. I mean, it shows, right? The DBS kids, they are Portland Uprising, and they are great players. Nate, I mean, man, that guy is good. And so I was up there. I played with all of them, and we would go up to Canada, and that's where we were playing a lot of our stuff. So, you know, all these tournaments, you know, time after time, they're not on APPA, right? The VPL, which is the Vancouver Paintball League, none of this stuff is up there. And we were winning or getting second place, like all of these tournaments. And, you know, none of it's going on APPA. But so finally I leave DBS and I moved back to California because I got stationed in Monterey. And this was kind of like my hiatus away from paintball. Got stationed in Monterey, and I was working like a weird job. I was working a fireman schedule, 2 on, 2 off, doing search and rescue. So paintball was the last thing I wanted to do. I was more infatuated with going out and enjoying Monterey.
Well, yeah, I mean, you
have a very good,
and it was kind of like, all right,
scene.
I'm working hard as fuck, and then I have 2 days off. I'm gonna go party.
Like, and, you know, and when you're in Monterey, right, you go to these nicer bars, you go to everything, and then you go play golf. So I got really into golf, and which, don't get me wrong, golf is fun, but it is a lot more fun with alcohol.
That's true.
So I was dabbling in paintball. I played at Santa Clara Paintball against like a bunch of the royalty guys, and you know, those guys were fantastic paintball players. Obviously, they went pro, but you know, didn't really find myself wanting to play tournament paintball that much. And then I got out of the military and I had all this time and I was going to college. And so I moved to Sacramento, and that's when, I kind of met up with the Boyums, and, everything is history. I got jumped back into paintball. I got really involved with it. That first year back, I went to Cup, and I actually stayed with the D2 team.
Yeah, you were at Cup that
and
year. I remember that. Yeah,
and that's where I was in the, you could see me in the documentary helping the D2 team, but I think I played D4 under this I don't even know how to describe this team, but it was a very, very crazy team. I mean, one of the guys' nickname was Crackhead, and shout out to Crackhead if you're watching this, but it was a very
shout out Crackhead
team. I mean, it was D4. We made Sunday, got knocked out. We went decently deep, but it was me and my friend Cody from DBS who we got invited to play for this team. And, I always loved to play for any team with my friends. So I got to play this tournament with Cody, and that kind of like reignited it. But, at the time I was heavily into college, right? This was like the first time I had been in college out of the military, where military is very structured, and now I'm in college where you could do whatever the hell you want as long as you maybe show up to class,
Yeah.
Classes were really easy, so I was doing other things, and so I kind of stepped away again from paintball, and this was kind of when I was playing with Dylan and Jordan. They had this team Supreme, which they then brought over to DMG as D2, and they were starting to get really into it, and so I kind of took a step back, and then a couple years ago or whatnot, they had the tryouts, and that's when I came out, and that's when we had the D2 team, and that's what really launched us into last season and everything like that, and with like Calvin and some of the guys from the D2 team, Tyler where it kind of gave him the springboard. Yeah, where it gave him the springboard to kind of excel, and then look at him now. He's a beast. But
dude, yeah.
Kid,
he was pro.
Kid is fast.
Yeah.
Good luck shooting, Ty.
I beat him. I beat him in a foot race, though. Ty, if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about. Video proof of it.
Video proof.
Just want to throw
Austin,
that out there.
you haven't said anything in 30 minutes, and when we talk about foot racing, that's when you come in? Like, what?
Nah, dude, I think he's a... I
mean,
Tyler...
Tyler...
that Ryan's dropping right now.
Yeah.
You just gotta shit on Ty real
dude.
quick. All right, cool. Good to know.
Well, not shit on Ty.
I'm sure he's willing to race you this weekend, or
yeah, at tryouts.
Name the time and place, and he'll do it.
Austin, tryouts.
I'll
It's
pass.
going down. Tyler versus Austin. We'll see what happens. Love that.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I like
Another,
that one.
so the whole kind of background of you coming onto the podcast this week, was because last weekend you were with Evan, and you guys went at like 6 or 7 a.m. to go watch the World Cup quarterfinals match.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Was that fun to watch losing at 10 a.m.? Like, what?
Anytime you go out and you support like a team or anything like that, as long as you're not taking it too seriously, right? Like there's people who get way too involved in sports.
What the fuck?
Great for them, right? They have something that they love and they cherish and everything like that. But if you can go to an event like a Niners-Raiders game and, screw the Raiders, I'm just going to say that now, but the Niners lose, God forbid, right? Something happens and the Niners lose. I'm still going to have a great time because guess what? I'm not at work and I'm most likely having fun with people that I want to enjoy the sport with. And so when we went out and we watched the U.S. men's national team, which I have played soccer since I was 4 years old. I was probably more involved in soccer than I ever was in paintball. I played soccer. I still play soccer to this day until COVID hit. So I've always been a huge soccer fan. And so going and, being able to watch the U.S. men's national team get to the round of 16 and have a chance to, play against these greats because, they have such a good youthful team. It was amazing, right? And we were surrounded by people who had that same vibe. I mean, the guy next to us, he was hammered. It was 7 o'clock in the morning.
6 a.m.
We started drinking the second we got in there.
I mean, it's a bar,
right?
Yeah, isn't
Okay,
that?
I just wanted to make sure.
What else do you do in a bar?
he is hammered, and he is having he's starting all the chants, right? And everybody in that place knows him. And it's so fun, right?
That is what I love with soccer culture, and like I wish would come to more American sports. European teams will have literally like 12 different chants for every single player on the team, and every single one of the 20,000 people in the stands knows it by heart. And it's like, if some kid just starts, popping off, they're all singing American Boy randomly, and it's like they have their own lyrics and shit. It's, oh god, it's such a cool moment just to see all these people so invested in this sport at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no, I would like to say there's no fan base like soccer, but it's apples and oranges, right? It's a completely different sport. There's completely different vibe when, a missed shot happens or anything like that. Unlike, someone throwing
there's no like
catch touchdown.
I don't know. No San Francisco's Giants fans are like going out and stabbing people because you like the A's. Like, yeah, we don't like each other, but we're not directly fighting. Like,
Oakland back in the day had some.
Back in the day, that's Oakland, but
I mean, now they're Vegas. I mean,
yeah.
But I don't know. It's like soccer has such a different vibe. And I'm willing to go to a bar at 6:00 in the morning and, cheer on the team that I would hope to win the World Cup. Now, I mean, they have a lot of work to do, but I don't know, man. I can't wait for 2026 North America FIFA World Cup. I mean, it's going to be insane, right? I'm going to start this slush fund so I can go to as many games as I can. Queasy and I talked about this. We're trying to go to as many games as possible.
That'll be crazy.
So it's a huge different environment, and I'd do it again. Even if you told me, hey, USA is going to lose, do you still want to go to the bar at 6:00 in the morning? I'm up.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It's about the
It's the great attitude.
It's the feeling that,
he heard bar and he was like,
subliminally, you cheering in that bar in the United States is helping them.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Right?
That's how it
I'm
works.
standing on one foot, and I know that's helping, right?
Yeah. It's like with football when people are in their house cheering with like someone's jersey on. They're like, dude, me wearing this jersey, that's helping them play right now.
Oh yeah.
He
knows.
Toddy believes that if she doesn't watch the game, the Raiders do good. So, I mean, it's a win-win.
So she never watches the Raiders game, but she's the biggest fan of the Raiders I know. Okay.
Well, she goes to the games. And
okay.
Her family is diehard Raiders. So it's really weird, right? I'm Niners, I'm Giants, they're A's, they're Raiders. I mean, we're opposite on
the
everything.
A's are better, but
and it's great because it makes this healthy kind of like competitive relationship between her and I, which I love. But there was a point where we had the game on the other day, and we were watching the Raiders, and they started like doing shitty, and like she's talking to her dad. She's like, "Oh yeah, we just turned it on," and nope, turned it off. It was like a complete flip, and then they won. I was like, okay, well, you can believe it. It's your own superstition, but
it's like rally caps.
Yeah, no, like rally caps, stuff like that.
I'm a little stitious.
Right?
I'm a little stitious.
But I mean, and that's what it creates fun. I mean, that shit's fun. Like the rally caps. I mean, that's hilarious.
Rally caps are the best.
And it gives more people a reason to come together, and that's really all you can ask for in sports. You don't need to. And this goes back to like high school, right? We used to get rowdy at our basketball games, football games, soccer. Yeah. We had everybody showing up to our games, like.
Dude, our student section was a problem.
Dude, when you're in that small world of high school, dude, you're on the top of that world right there.
Yeah.
That's like peak.
Everything matters so much. Like, dude, so like we would go to like random like Wednesday night basketball games. We'd have like 150 students in this section. Holy shit, we'd just be heckling the fuck out of these kids the whole entire night. And we won a lot of those games. And like we just were getting in these kids' head. But dude, that really like hit me with nostalgia when you mentioned like the student section shit, because like that, I don't know, that was always such a fun part of like high school, events like that when you'd go watch someone else's sport and like just go crazy for no reason.
Wins games, bro.
Yeah, right.
And wins games.
Yeah, so you have that like high school. You always remember going to the games and stuff like that. So now fast forward 20 plus years. How do you relive that kind of like euphoria? You go to sports games, you talk shit to the other side.
Yeah.
You get more involved than you should be because it makes you feel young again. And that's what I've learned. Dude, I will go to the bar. I will look the most ridiculous Like I had socks pulled up, like I had soccer socks on. I
You had
had
a scarf
my
on,
pants
right?
pulled up. I had I had the scarf. I had everything, right? And that's the fun part about it is because it doesn't matter how old you are, right? I mean, you can go to a sports game and you feel young again. You're around friends, you're around loved ones, and it's a blast. And that's what I love about soccer. I love about football. I love everything. It brings the youth out in us, even if we can't play the sport anymore. And
yeah, well, and it's funny because all those things you're saying, they do, they work for soccer, but they also work for paintball so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's why I've loved, like, when Hormesis put out that shirt, Play Like a Kid, and kind of all that, like
that shit.
messaging and stuff that they've been doing is like, yeah, like, you want to be a, 50-year-old dad who has, his 15-year-old son. Yeah, you guys can play this sport together. And like, hey, you may actually fuck up your kid. Like it's not like other sports like, basketball, football, where it's super athletic and it's like, sorry, Sonny, I can't keep up with you.
Go ahead, Kate.
No, I was going to say, speaking of the like dad thing, dude, I remember when I was like 11 years old, I went out with my dad. And he shot me in my throat, dude. Like directly in my throat. I was pissed too. I was like pissed. I think it was when I was walking out or something like that. Like the first step out of the bunker,
Austin's been getting bonus balled since his first day of playing paintball.
Well, and see, that's the cool thing too, is right, like athletic wise, like you can go play soccer and someone's going to be always more athletic than the other, or like that's going to be an advantage. Basketball, I'm 6'5", man. You can put me up against Tyler and I'm going to beat his ass in basketball, right? Yeah, because he's short and fast, but
dunk on you.
Yeah, but like you go out and paintball and you could be 50, 60 years old and still beat up on these younger athletic kids, and it's so cool to see. Like I have and Sac Paintball, shout out lane, bro. Yeah, shout out to Junior and Gina and what they've done for the Sacramento area, bringing Sac Paintball over. But all these fathers and sons come into the shop and they're like, "Hey, I used to play paintball back in the day, and now my son's of age. I really want to get into it." And dude, it brings these fathers and sons together in some way that like I wish my dad played. Granted, like my dad was always there and he supported me through soccer and everything like that and paintball, and he took me to hunting. Took me to Huntington Beach, and probably some of the best memories I've ever had. And
God damn it,
that fucking I wanted to react, but Ryan just kept going, and I was like, "Can we talk about how Hatch just said that?"
What? We're good.
It blows my mind that people are able to have these relationships, and it's cool that their fathers are playing with them. I didn't have that. He supported me in other ways, but and that's the big thing about paintball now is I lost my father almost 2 years ago. It will be 2 years next year, but he was the one thing that him and I traveled for that I never did with my mom. Mm-hmm. He was always the one who took me to Huntington Beach. He was the one who, took me to these tournaments, Las Vegas, stuff like that. And so that's kind of like, Alex made me a custom headband for my dad.
Yeah.
So that's always going to be a part of paintball for me. And that's why I'm going to continue playing paintball, because that is my last connection sports wise to him. So, and now I'm seeing all these dads and sons getting into it in the shop, and it's cool because I'm able to help them out and kind of steer them in the way of getting into the sport and getting involved and creating that relationship, which I never had on the field. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool.
Well, that's like next level, dude. That's like the next generation that you're seeing being created. Like the next generation. We have like the DMG kids that are like 12, 13 years old that are the next generation, next past us, and then you got the next. Man,
next.
That's so fucking
the next.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, dude. Wait till the next comes, dude. Then you'll be really freaking out.
And I mean, Ryan, you've been playing since '99. There's been like 12 next generations at this point.
Before. He's the triple before.
If Alex ever hears this part of it, I'm gonna have him, message you. And we're not that old. I mean, granted, they're a little bit older than me, but
yeah.
No, still winning.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned that to Alex too. One of the times we were having a conversation, I was like, "Alex, when was the first pro event you played in?" And he was like, 98 or 97 or one of those years that they went pro. I can't remember right now. And I was like, "Okay, so I wasn't born. Copy. All right. Like, good to know. It's just crazy. Like, my whole life, those guys have been the like top dogs, the best examples of our sport. And so it's crazy that they are still the top dogs. They just won World Cup 3 years in a row. Like, or
Goddamn, so
3
badass.
years in a row, right? Because the 2020,
so
the
badass.
2021, and 2022. So, I mean, yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that, skill and time behind the gun can outweigh, the guys who can get there, half a second faster, right?
Mhm.
It's all about the knowledge of the game, and they have plenty of it. They have plenty of time behind the gun, and, that goes for most things in life, right? And I've met guys who, you can have this natural ability to shoot a real gun, but the guys who have put hundreds of thousands of rounds behind a gun, time behind the gun matters, and
It
that's
becomes
what
like
they
a
have,
part
is-
of you. Like, it's not
Yeah.
even a tool at that point. It's like just an
Dude,
extension of self.
I have
Like,
friends that talk so much shit that like they shoot like real guns. Like, dude, I would grill you up in paintball, and I'm like, all right, buddy.
Oh, I got that. I got that all the
Dude,
time.
yeah.
I took my department out to play paintball one time, and granted, these were guys who, we had been to the Federal Law Enforcement Academy. I mean, these guys were, they were doing boardings, and these guys were so cool. They had guns and stuff like that, and it was really cool because we all had the same training. But they're like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna mess you up on the paintball field." I'm like, "All right, okay." I mean, it's completely
bro.
different environment. This isn't playing war. This is
no,
shooting
Yeah.
little gelatin
It's a
balls at
game.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
you know,
not
went out
simunition,
there and
like-
they got smoked.
Mhm.
I mean,
Did
it
you have
wasn't
your
even
gun?
close.
Did you have
No,
your gun?
I even got a rental. I even
Alright,
took a
Respect.
rental.
alright.
So
Respect.
like I'm not. It's and like I said, I mean, equipment matters. I'll give it that. Like on an even playing field, if you skill wise, if someone has a gun that is better than the other one, so you're playing like someone
pressure.
someone equally has my skill, and then I have a CS2 and someone else has a Titman. Realistically, I should win.
The
Every
pressure
time.
is just gonna
Mhm.
overwhelm them.
Yeah, but
But actually, I
when
would
we
also
went out
say
there-
that's the cool thing with paintball is like he might win 2 or 3 of those, just because like just takes
Yeah,
one
maybe
lucky
1 or
ball.
2 out of
Like
10.
yeah,
just one ball.
I mean,
I mean-
but you're right. A majority of the time, the better equipment should be winning.
on paper, I should be winning every time.
Yeah.
Granted, yes, you can get lucky balls here and there, but
I hope I never get put in that situation because I'm gonna lose that shit for sure.
yeah,
That's a video
It's
this
Fuck,
off season.
dude.
a lose-lose situation.
God
at
damn
that
it.
point.
Hatch versus
I'll never
AK.
get put in.
Hatch gets a Titman.
You know what? I'll take those odds.
All right. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's run it.
Hatch is better off in that situation, right? Because he's expected to lose, but if he doesn't, he's a win-win, right?
Dude, I get-
He's got
I
nothing to
get.
lose.
I got nothing.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
gain.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
but
If
it
AK
would
wins,
be
he's expected
impossible-
to.
Yeah, but it would be impossible for him to win because if he's only shooting Mac, dude, he's only gonna be able to hit me probably like once, maybe twice in a
You're
snap.
wiping that.
Exactly, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I'm getting rid of that.
No,
You need
dude,
at least like
What the
7.
fuck? He's not gonna know what to
'Cause-
wipe. He's not gonna be able to see. He's gonna be fucking.
Oh.
All I'm saying is how embarrassing.
You gotta
would it
blind
be-
him.
Well, then I'd know exactly where to wipe.
Wipe.
I don't know. The Todd Boyer can get rid of that hit pretty easy.
Dude, have you seen
Yeah,
that one
dude.
clip that just came out? Who I think it was
Chris? Are you talking about Chris, where he dives
Chris?
and puts his mask into the ground?
No, I saw one where he's fighting, then gets shot, switches, and goes whoop.
Oh yeah,
Just the, like, back of the-
Damn, bro.
he's been watching too much Todd Boyer. That guy can get away with everything. But the Chris Caputo one, he
That's
gets
who was
hit in the
filming it.
gog off the face and then puts his face into the ground. Now I didn't find out if he got pulled or a penalty or anything like that, but to have the awareness just to put your face into the ground.
That's
I
hilarious.
mean, that's some like
We
Alex
talked about
wiping
this
a
clip.
hopper- Alex Goldman wiping a hopper.
Yeah,
hit
like in
mid-round.
stride.
It's
yeah.
so crazy because that's so hard to get away with.
It's also
Oh,
funny
I
how
know,
Alex
overhit like
like
that?
Alex tries to
PPL.
pretend that
And it
never
was so
happened.
clean. It was
That must
so
have been,
clean
like,
because
the
it was
ref must
right
have
when he
fucking
like
blinked.
went to dive.
No,
That
it
must
was
have
No, dude, I've seen the like full speed clip of it.
it's
I mean,
instant.
Like, it's hard
It's
to do. I mean, and
yeah.
the guy's
It
so
looks
fast,
like he's
right?
just trying to cover. You know, how people used to like cover back in the day their goggles before
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
dive.
yeah, or do
It
the
almost
like
looked like he was
arm
just
side.
trying
Yeah.
to protect his hopper, like
Yeah.
until
Oh,
they slow it down. It's
Yeah.
it's
I
hard to
could get
tell.
the bounce off my hand rather than taking the hit in
Yeah.
the face. Oh, but I
Mhm.
can't see the rest of the field. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a great move back in the day.
That was
No,
Yeah,
strategy, bro.
But the thing was too is like that was MPPL 7, man, right? So they had more players on the field. So you had almost the
refs'
same amount
eyes
of
were
refs
looking
trying
different.
to
Yeah.
pick up all these people, and then you have this blur of a player running in front of you
At night too, so
You
you know
guys
there's
all repped,
less
right?
ambient light.
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck
Okay.
it,
Yeah.
someone else will watch that guy. I'll watch
Yeah,
the
like,
guy
not
who's
my
slow
zone,
in the
baby.
back.
Not my zone.
Yeah,
Woo!
exactly. So it's like, I mean, it was a clean ass wipe, and he did it really well, and no one would have believed it ever happened unless it was on camera.
Fuck.
Cassidy
Shout
got
out
it on
Cassidy.
camera.
Shout out
They lost,
Cassidy.
right?
Yeah.
They lost to Aftershock, right?
Yeah, that was
yeah, they did
the
that
event. Yeah,
tournament.
that well, and that
All that.
was
just
it.
to lose.
Cassidy or because then
I
didn't
believe-
Dan
believe that
also
was
filmed that
Cassidy.
match? Well, yeah, because it was the HK video that Cassidy had the wipe in, but that match was also being filmed as part of Dan Napoli's One Night in November series about Aftershock. Because yeah, no, that video is legendary. That's one of my favorite like paintball documentaries ever made.
What is it? The HK. It was like HK. The World Is Ours or something like that. But that was such a I love
Yeah.
that video.
Was that 2011 or was that 2012?
Let's see.
2012, right?
Maybe
I want to say it was around.
I almost want to say 11 because the
2011. Because didn't the MPPL die out in 2012?
it died out in 2013. I played one
Or
of
was
the
it
last
2013?
MPPL
Okay.
events.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Like the last one in
2011, I think.
2011,
Yeah, it's
okay.
2011.
Yo, so that's funny. You have
Point.
you have another monitor mounted above your primary monitor, so that makes me wonder. Ryan Doss, have you ever been a Twitch streamer?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Hey, can you let everyone know what game you played?
No, we won't
it
talk
RuneScape?
about
We're not gonna talk about that. It's
No,
better than
I,
RuneScape.
World of Warcraft.
when I was younger, I got really into WoW, really into it, and
yeah.
it was always like my hidden thing, right? I never told my friends about it. I in high school I played sports, everything like that, but then I had this other side of me that I loved playing World of Warcraft, so I did it. Behind the scenes, didn't really tell many people about it, and then when I got in the military, it was a way for me to connect with my friends back home. I was still able to play, and fast forward, I was playing these private servers for classic WoW and stuff like that, and I got into classic WoW, and then I at one point was ranked #1 in the world for Holy Paladins. I got really into it, and
That's
it's
right.
not-
I want to say that again. He was ranked #1 in the world in WoW.
Hold on.
Do you know how many millions of people play this game?
Toddy
I
says
have
four.
no idea.
Like no one is reacting to that. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And it was really it was at a time I got really into it. It was in the middle of COVID. They had just released the classic version of Vanilla WoW, and that is my favorite version of WoW because any person who plays WoW is like,
Well, it's
the
nostalgic.
Old expansions were always better, no matter how shitty they were.
They were always better,
because
yeah.
it's nostalgia. And it's just like paintball. Oh, back in the day, paintball was always better. Yeah, it was
Oh,
more
yeah.
expensive,
That's like-
and it was harder to get sponsorships. But yeah, there was a lot more people involved, so it was always better. But I got really into it, and I for some reason obsessed with Paladin and love healing, and got
Is that your
really
favorite game of all time?
Yes, because there was some times in life where money was never a good thing to go out and waste, and what better than I go get a 6-pack of whatever beer, come home, and that's the only money I spent that night, right? I could just sit at home and be a nerd for 10 hours and not spend any money
for
and not go
$15 a
out.
month. Like yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there was
so simple, Duro. Men are so simple.
and it was a way for me to save money and connect with friends across the US, and so I did that, and I got really good at it and still really good at it to this day, and I was chasing parses at the time, which is the ranking system, and ultimately it got me to #1 Holy Paladin in the world. And I mean, you even look at the rankings and the screenshots that I have, and I mean, you see like the Chinese symbols, you see all these people across the world, and it's like, I've never thought about it this way, but when other people are like, holy crap, like that's pretty crazy.
That's
I'm like,
badass. Like
I didn't
Ryan's
even
like,
think
damn.
about it.
I'm sweating
Yeah.
with all these motherfuckers.
that's sweaty. Like
That's
that is
amazing.
It is.
yeah.
It is. And I mean,
Dude, bro, I sweat sometimes too. You're good, bro. You're good.
yeah, and
Because-
don't get me wrong, I love first-person shooters, and I love Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, love it. But there's WoW has always had a place in my heart, and it until now. Thanks for calling me out on that. People didn't know about it. So.
Yeah, sorry. But no, and because we had talked about that a long time ago. Yeah, you somehow brought that up, and I just remember how like stunned I was, because I think for me, like that's kind of a nerd goal, like, you know, be number one in the world in some type of game. Like, dude, that's hard to do. Like, gamers are sweaty. Like, if you want to beat other gamers, like, I've thought about trying, like, you know, speed runs or stuff like that before, and it's like, there's no point, bro. Like, unless you are a god tier human.
Really traumatized me for what WoW players are supposed to look like.
Right? I really love that episode. That was so far off of like how WoW really was, but it was hilarious.
So funny though.
That's how that is my perception of it. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Play that shit.
You watch these like race to world first of like the current WoW progression, and these guys are like jacked. I mean, they are athletes.
Yeah.
Like if you were to look at them, you would never be like,
that guy plays WoW.
You play WoW. And it's like, no, you would be like, holy crap, you probably just go out, work out, and then you just go to the beach and hang out with a bunch of hot girls. Like, no, these guys are like, I think that's what esports is going to, right? It's no longer this like unhealthy obsession. It's people who take care of themselves so they can sit down and play these long hours of grinding. But then the second they get up, you know, they're not physically fucked up. They can actually go out.
Organizations do that now. A lot of game organizations, they make their players stay active because they're playing video games all the time, and they know like the negative repercussions of just sitting there all day.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I mean,
it's a little bit of that. I am gonna cut in here a little bit, because the other part of it is the human body literally performs better. Your brain will react faster. You will have faster reaction times if you are in better shape. So yes, today the average BMI of like an esports player is probably higher than, you know, the average BMI of a NFL player, you know, fucking NBA player, any of those. But I think they are starting to now, esports orgs are realizing that, and they're investing money into, you know, actual training facilities, actual trainers, you know, getting these guys like, hey, you guys need to get in the gym, you know, you need to eat a little bit better, you know, like trying to get that to be a part of it. Which, helps out everyone, because then, I mean, hey, you know, let's be real. If you have a gamer who is like, have you ever heard of the dude Freakazoid? He used to play Counter-Strike back in the day. Dude is a legit bodybuilder, like could compete. He's a huge human being, and he was a pro in Counter-Strike Go. They would use him all the time for marketing material, promotions, and it only makes sense. Like, he's a good-looking human being. If you see that man wearing a shirt, you probably want to buy that shirt too. So it's like, you know, that definitely is becoming a, you know, part of the whole branding, and, you know, esports as a general whole is like, maybe we should look like our dudes actually could, you know, lift or move a little bit.
And that's the crazy thing too, is like you see all this movement behind being healthy and everything like that, and it is now carried over to paintball. I mean, back in the day, you could be, you know, overweight, bigger person and still be a back player effectively, and now you've seen the transformation into paintball where that back center player needs to be athletic enough to be a one. He needs to go up
because he's gonna go play the center.
Or, you know, fill out to the snake side and be able to fill into the snake or anything like that.
Crawl all the way down at any point.
Yeah, and it's a great thing. Is like everything is starting to progress towards this healthier lifestyle, and that's a good thing for everybody, right?
It shows that being healthy, like, just is better in every single way, right? There's no negative aspect to being healthy.
Yeah. I mean,
besides not being able to eat flaming hot Cheetos.
I was gonna say, like,
let's be real.
That's about it. But
Are you a hot Cheeto girl, Ryan?
No, I'm not. Well, sorry. There's two Ryans. That always gets confusing.
I 100% am. Here's a story for you. I was in San Diego and I was about to leave my ship to go to another ship. So I'm down in San Diego. I'm in the barracks, which are essentially dorms for everybody who was on the ship when we were in port. And I hear a knock at the door, and like I open the door, and like 7 or 8 of my friends rushed in and started beating the crap out of me, and they taped me up. And basically what they did was took bags and bags of flaming hot Cheetos, which they knew I loved at the time, and like started dumping them on me in the shower and then pouring like Mountain Dew on me. So they were hazing me before I left, you know, kind of hey, we know you're leaving, but remember us. And to this day, I'll never forget that, because that was like.
But that's just such an interesting choice. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna waterboard him with Mountain Dew. He'll
dude.
hate that.
Dude, that's the military. It's like, there's so much crap that you can't do that.
Not
you can't
anymore.
do any
Well,
of it
today's
anymore.
military is different as well too.
Yeah, like our crossing the line ceremonies were. They were pretty intense. It was a good time, but yeah, I mean, it was funny because back in the day, I was 6'5" my junior year of high school, maybe even a little sooner than that, but I couldn't gain any weight. Like, dude, I went to boot camp. I was 170, 6'5", like I was
Damn.
a wire. And so I would eat all these bad things like Flaming Hot Cheetos, Mountain Dews, and don't get me wrong, I still indulge. Those are still great, but the age is finally caught up, and it's like, okay, well, you can't eat as many of those anymore and stuff like that. But yeah, I was obsessed with them back in the day.
No, it's funny you say that. Maddie at one of the events, Maddie Marshall, he was talking to me, and I think somehow like beards got brought up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, your beard's looking good," and he's like, how old are you again? And I was like, just about to turn 24, and I'm 24 now. And he's like, yeah, your mid-20s, it's when a couple things start to change, you notice two things get thicker: your beard and your gut. And I was like, yeah, that's right, Maddie. Like, didn't have to remind me, but it's all going downhill.
Yeah, it's a harsh reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the first time I've actually grown a beard.
Yeah, it looks good, man. I like the beanie look too. We're getting hipster Ryan. It's a very good look.
Dude, looking good. Dude.
That's Hormesis, Ryan.
It's a Hormesis Sandana collab. I mean,
it is?
I have it turned, yeah, it is.
Yep. But yeah, what were you going to say, AK?
I just wanted to build off the hot Cheeto story, because one of my favorite stories from Ryan, if he wants to mention on the podcast, about the Girl Scout cookies.
Oh.
The little business behind that, dude. I thought that was so smart.
So
I'm confused. We'll see.
Okay. So I can't believe you actually remember this. So, okay, back in the day, my mom, so I have a little sister. She's the world to me. Her name's McKenna. She was a Girl Scout when I was in the military, and they would send me out a box of Girl Scout cookies, like a huge box, like full of just a bunch of these smaller boxes of Girl Scout cookies. And, it was cool. It was like, I could have all these Girl Scout cookies. I could share them with people. It was a business opportunity. When you're out on a ship in the middle of the ocean, it is literally prison rules, right?
That's currency.
You could sell
a cookie is currency.
A can of dip for $20-$30.
Yeah,
Right? You were getting this huge markup. And so I went forward with this. I was like, okay, I need stuff that I can't get that people are getting sent out. So I would, trade these Girl Scout cookies for racks of Monsters or something to keep me up on. Or like I would sell them, for in-store currency so that I could go down and buy like stuff like, whatever I needed. So like, I was the person on the boat. If you wanted Girl Scout cookies,
go find DOS.
Over to my rack. Yep.
Damn.
And I would.
You like
something that
slide out under your bed. You just, which ones you want? We got some Thin Mints, got some Samoas.
It was funny because that was my thing. It was like I would get these Girl Scout cookies sent out to me. We would be like in Golfito, Costa Rica, and all of a sudden this big box shows up and it's like Girl Scout cookies. It was like I was thinking, okay, business time. I got to flip these into. I need at least 3 big Flaming Hot Cheeto bags. I need at least 6 Monsters. All this stuff. So I had to, I was looking out for my own. I had to get what I needed on board. So it was definitely it was definitely a business opportunity, and I took full advantage of it. And thank you, Mom, for sending me out the cookies. You made life a lot easier. But it was interesting. I mean, ship life is another life, man. I mean, if a huge portion of the population doesn't know about ship life, shout out to all the active and active duty military who's deployed. I mean, a deployment is another world. I mean, any guys who have been on deployment know it's you build this bond with your brothers out there, brothers and sisters now, that it's you can't. there's no way to kind of explain to people who haven't lived through it. I mean, I can best explain to it like a fraternity, but it goes farther than that.
Well, and the best way, because I mean, I'm not in the military myself, but I was bringing that up, but my brother's in, and, you know, I've seen some of the way his friendships are, and, you know, guys that he went through ROTC with, and he's still like best friends with to this day, you know, 8-10 years later. You know, seeing a lot of what it is, it's kind of similar to paintball. Like, you spend so much time with these people, and you also do something that requires a lot of trust. It's like, you need to do your job, I need to do my job, and if we both do that, we're going to be all good. And, you know, I think those two things really develop like tight-knit friendships. Because, like, you know, everyone talks about like that group of guys that they have, and it's usually around two things: spending a lot of time with them, and then also like some type of hobby or interest that pulls them together where they need to do something. You know, you see that with like card guys, you see that with, you know, like the gun community and guys who are huge into that. Like, it's definitely, you know, it's something that you can't really experience unless you're there experiencing it. And it's kind of one of those like feelings that just it's really indescribable. It's like, I've been with you for 6 months now, and, you know, like, I just, it becomes less so like a friendship and more like, all right, you're literally a brother at this point. So, hi, dude. Like,
yeah, I mean, and a lot of times, you know, you were in situations where you had to depend on that person next to you. Like, when we got into pursuits with non-compliant vessels, it was like, that person next to you, behind you, whoever's, you know, the coxswain at the time, like, you had full trust, because if shit went south, they were the only people around for hundreds of miles who were going to be able to help, whether it be taking out a person or responding to, you know, like a search and rescue case or anything like that. Those were the people who were going to help you get out of that situation. And the whole goal was to get out intact, safely, and either rescue people or take away the bad stuff that the bad guys have. So, I mean, again, it like you said, it's an undescribable bond that you build. And, you know, that's probably why I love paintball so much, is because it's unlike any other sport, unless you're on a traveling team. I mean, that's when things change. But your average recreational team, you don't get that bond. You don't get going and staying in an Airbnb for 4 or 5 days at a time, spending every second with these people,
crammed in a hotel room.
Crammed in a hotel room. I mean, you learn a lot about people. And,
you legitimately live with people at events. Like, it's such a
You have to cohabitate.
There's no moment of separation.
Yeah, there's no peace, right? And that's why I love it, because it replicates the military, right? And that's why I love seeing what Chris Rangel has done with veteran militias, because now you get both in the same world, and now they're having this crazy tournament at the World Cup. It's so cool, man. Yeah. There's no Coast Guard team, but hey,
no one cares.
Can't be perfect, right?
No one cares.
But no, it's cool, because you get these hints of brotherhood. You get it everything. Like Skylar Rickett, he's one of those guys who I call it any time of the day and vent to, and dude, the guy will genuinely listen and respond, and like, it's cool. It creates brotherhoods. The sport has created brotherhoods, and I love it. My mom has always told me, and my dad, you know, you can really count friends on typically 1 or 2 hands. With paintball, you can get away with more than that. You know, you can start going down to your toes.
Yeah,
you can start going down to your toes.
Shit, okay, that one time,
that's cool,
and then
man.
I even go on my fingers, hands, dude.
get Callie's toes
insane.
out. Yeah,
and in soccer, you know, I was lucky that some of my best friends played soccer with me. But, you know, you go play on these teams, and I haven't talked to those guys in years. But hey, guess what? I still talk to Victor from San Diego Mob. I still, you know, go visit my friends up in Washington, or, you know, anything like that. You know, one of them lives out in Montana, so I go out there to visit them. And soccer team, I don't do that. It's weird, man. Paintball is a very unique sport, and it's a very unique opportunity to build these lifelong friends, and I love it. Talking with you guys, I go to the field randomly, and it's like, you see this person you haven't seen in months, and it's like,
hey, what up, Doss?
Giddy.
Yeah.
Giddy.
Yeah, let's go, Doss.
Yeah, exactly. Every time I walk down the field, it's the hardest thing to be on time, right? Because it's okay, I got to stop to talk to this guy. Oh,
I gotta
there's another guy over
Hey,
here.
what's
I
up,
gotta
bro?
give him a hug.
Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, how
Yeah.
are you?
I
It's
know.
amazing.
I know that
AK
one. all
is
too
bad
well.
at it.
Yeah, I could literally, I could stop playing tomorrow, not come for 6 months, come right back, and everybody's going to be super stoked.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cool thing about, not, granted, Capital Edge is a different beast. Like, love it
Capital
there.
Edge,
and
yeah.
the family that
few
you
feels
create
like
there.
that. Very few
Yeah.
feels like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm fortunate enough, like, I've found 2 fields that are basically like that. DBS and then Capital Edge, but man, am I lucky to find those 2 fields
Yeah.
during my career. So yeah, definitely, I love it. I love everybody who's a part of the communities around here. SAC Paintball has created a amazing community of them, so I get to see them almost every day when I'm working there, or if I'm down, at Field 1 or Hormesis, I'm still talking to people throughout the community. It's unbelievable. Right,
Oh, yeah.
and now I get to sit back and actually realize how amazing these communities are. Like, I guess I take it for granted, but yeah, being able to express that to others, I really see how amazing these people are who are involved in my life. So that's cool.
Feels good, dude. Okay, this is like a little tangent right here, but dude, let me tell you, when it comes to chicks, bro, dude, when I tell them that I'm like how much I love my paintball friends and like how much I am into this shit, dude, they get hot over that shit, bro. They're like, dude, that shit's lit, dude. They go, they go, dude, it's so sexy seeing somebody so passionate about that. And I'm like, dude, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Everything Hatch does
With
is
the
for the
top
babes.
cock,
I hope people
Dude, with
realize
fucking
that.
top cock headband, dude.
I mean, yeah, put it on your resume. I mean, it's cool because you can kind of turn paintball into a resume builder, right? It's all about how you articulate things and be like, well, I'm a great team player. I play this team sport where, I get to basically control the outcome of the game based on how well we work together. And if you flip things like that,
Taking
dude,
notes.
I'm telling you, put it on resumes like that, and you explain
This
to
man's
like a future
literally-
employer.
God damn it, Hatch.
You just say like, hey, this is what this sport has taught me, and I would love to translate what I've learned from this sport into your business, and you can go forward with that. And I hope people are doing that because paintball offers that kind of that lesson for real world stuff. I mean, yeah, people are going to be like, oh, you go play war every day. No, it's more than
I
that.
hate those motherfuckers.
You're going to be able to.
God, dude.
You're going to be able to take these lessons and these skills and everything and apply it to. It doesn't matter what you do. You can go forward and apply it to working at McDonald's. Hey, this is how we can make our team even that much better, more productive.
We can be
all the
more
way up
efficient.
to running a company.
Dude,
there's a
hogs,
reason.
Burgers, same shit.
There's a reason why Alex and all of them are very successful. I mean, I guarantee they've taken a lot of what they've learned on the field and they're applying it to businesses now. It's people need to realize there's a lot more skills involved in what you're doing every weekend or every other weekend or once a month. Dude, take that, translate it into a articulable resume and go forward. Take paintball seriously, and hey, that's going to spread the word about paintball too. It's like, hey, we should probably do a business retreat because paintball can teach us teamwork and
Team
coordination and communication and all this stuff. It's like, oh, we could build paintball just through the professional world if we just got out there and use it as an everyday reference.
Yeah.
Damn, I love paintball so much.
I know, right?
I don't even know where the fuck I'd be without it, dude.
So, I mean,
like what fucking suck.
we've been talking about you for, I don't know, a while now, Doss, but it's definitely been good to kind of get to know you, hear some of your background story. One other thing I did want to bring up before we leave the show today was tryouts are going to be this weekend. And, one of my things.
Back to my question.
So, wait, one of my things I've written down here. Do you have any plans for next year, Ryan Doss?
My whole goal in paintball, and I never had a goal of going pro. I never had a goal of anything like that. My whole goal was to play with friends. I want to play with friends. I want to recreate the bond I had in the military. I want to play with people that I enjoy being around.
Jeez. Because
you're going to spend all this time and money together. Why not enjoy it? So, if I find an opportunity to go do that, then I will take it. Obviously, life has to be settled, and that's what this whole last year's been about, is getting settled. But if life is settled, I mean, hell, I'll be back. And I have a group of friends who are like-minded, and if something comes of it, then so be it. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to take it step by step. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I'm coming back, I'm going to be there out there every other weekend or every weekend. I'm going to yeah, of course, when I have permission from the partner in life, and I always want to make sure my dogs and she is first. So, Toddy and my dogs are first, and, my friends and everything, they can come after that. And, if life is settled with her and the life and professional world and everything like that, then yeah, I'll be back. And, I'll always be a part of paintball, whether it's, playing, if it's helping coach, I want to be more involved than I was this last year. I think I only played one event. I think ICPL.
No, you played SAC too, right?
Oh, I played SAC.
Because you played with Mafia.
That was
Podium.
That was a weird event. Weren't there 4 teams?
No, there was 3. Yeah,
3 teams.
It was basically a circumstance, and those guys, honestly, shout out to KC All-Stars. They were great. I loved meeting every single one of them. It was such a great time. It was such a different experience because every team is very different. They are very different from the DMG program, which is great. Because if every team was the same, then there would be no fun, right? Cookie cutter generic stuff is not fun. So I like that there's individuality to every team. Every player on the team is different. So hats off to those guys. Those guys are going to be really good next year. I'm hoping, sounds like they're going to play semi-pro, and, they'll probably be successful. Todd has created a very unique camp out. Yeah, I mean, he's created an awesome camp out there. What he's doing for paintball, I mean, he's bringing light to paintball, whether it be through different means, right? I mean, some of his videos are wiping a hit or anything like that, but he's getting people behind it. He's getting the views, and that's what's awesome about it. And he gave me the opportunity to come and help out with the KC guys. I was thankful enough that I could just sit back and provide, hey, I'm a local resource. I can find all these different things. You guys can go out and handle your business. I got to play, but I never went into that situation expecting to play every point, and I didn't have to. Those guys handled business, and they carried it to the next tournament and then the next tournament. So yeah, hats off to KC All-Stars. We had our grudge matches when we were playing each other in D2, and I'm very excited to see their growth after this. They're going to be a hard-hitting team, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in semi-pro. So
for sure.
Oh yeah, awesome. I like those guys.
And then Hatch, AK, you guys gonna be at tryouts? What's going on with that?
You already know I'm gonna be at tryouts, bro.
I know you are, Hatch. That was more so for AK because he's the wild card, like we always say.
Let's hear it, AK. Let's hear it. What's up? Let's hear it.
I'll be there, but I'm probably gonna be a DOS on this one. I'm pulling the DOS card, and
okay.
I'm not committing to any events as of right now. If I play next year, it will probably be more of out of opportunity with friends, sort of deal, sort of same thing. Like not like I have anything planned, but just more so like not gonna be playing the whole season.
Well, you are playing Mech Expo.
Do want to play? Oh, yeah. So stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like if I play an event, it's gonna be because I have the financial ability at that moment, and I got a spot with my boys, so that works out.
You take care of real life, and then everything else falls into place.
And Austin, you got time, brother. You're younger than any of us.
Yeah. I don't think paintball is dying out anytime.
I'm jealous of where you guys are in your youth. I mean, fuck, the D3 team, you guys were killing it. You guys always gave us the battle, right? Whenever we did our camp games and everything like that, camp matches, you guys were always there. I mean, I still remember when you guys came over to the pro side of practice, and Logan goes out there and shoots everybody on Dynasty.
I remember that.
He just runs all the way down, and then they're like, what the hell happened? And then he goes out and does it another.
Yeah, they're like, run it back, run it back.
Same thing. The next point goes and shoots 3 or 4 people. You guys, dude. I have nothing but faith that you guys will. All right, so what? You guys moving on to you guys are ranked up, right?
So, all right, a lot of shit going down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
stuff
A lot
in
of
there.
shit.
I don't know what
Okay.
the fuck's going on. I just get some phone calls every once in a while on what I want to do and what I think about doing, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I trust the process, right? But it's like the bottom line is I want to play with my fucking friends. That's like bottom line.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the good thing is you guys have a good core of people. Like, there's not a person on that team that I'd be like, I wouldn't want to play. Like, you guys developed a cool little friendship, and I enjoyed playing against you guys, except for Austin in the ICPL. Cheaters. But
Fuck the West Coast Sharks. What? Chiefs are better.
I love what you guys did this year, and I mean, you guys had some podiums, which is amazing, and it's hard to do in such a populated division. I mean, fuck.
There's a lot of
You
teams
guys
that play
have
D3.
so many teams in that, and same as like D4. Like, there's
There were like
statistically
104 teams
speaking.
in Cup.
Yeah,
So
statistically speaking, it is very hard to win a tournament in those
Yeah.
divisions because there's so many. Whereas D2 and semi-pro, there's 20, and your chances are a lot higher. But when you have to go and play 3 or 4 times the amount of matches just to get to that final stage, I mean, shout out to you guys. You guys did it multiple times. So yeah, I think you guys will be set this next
I
season.
feel like scouting's easier the higher you go, right? Because there's like way less teams you got to play.
100%.
Right.
You don't have
Yeah,
to
I
scout
mean,
12
And
teams for a
you play them
tournament.
more often, right? You
Yeah.
probably stack
I
up
was gonna
against
say
them
you
multiple
play
times
more
a year.
often.
Well, and that's the big thing too, is like you
Become
start
familiar.
you start knowing these names of people you're playing, so you can sit back and you can watch them, you can see their play style, you can see how the team plays, and then hey, guess what? There's only 18 other teams that you have to scout against, so then you move on to the next, and it's like you start developing. Oh, okay, we're playing this team, and they're a very center punch team, or hey, they're a Dorito side push, or unless they bring on new players, most teams, depending on the layout, they don't really change too much, right? They love pushing this side, they love pushing this side, or they always have the base play of what they're going to do. So yeah, scouting in higher divisions is a lot easier. I mean, granted, the skill level, the gun skills, everything, the communication together and everything like that is going to be a lot harder to play against. But yeah, the scouting overall, in my opinion, is a lot easier. And that's the big difference between lower division teams who are great and lower division teams who sometimes do good and have this run, is the team that does all the prep as if they were a higher division team is always going to excel. And you see that.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why some of these teams are consistently at the top. Tropic Thunder started as a Division 5 team. They won throughout that season, went to Division 4. They started winning throughout that season. So now, hopefully they're moving up, doing the natural progression.
They
Same
have their
thing
own JT frame. Like,
wow. I mean, yeah, Derek and Logan and them, they're crazy. I mean, those guys, they support paintball so much. Shout out to them. Those are some of the Hormesis guys that, I've become so connected with, them, Robert Panarella, Ryan Kinberg, these guys. I have Chase down in Vegas. We've become so close, and what Logan and Derek are doing are crazy. I mean, that's a lot of masks that you have to pre-order and hopefully sell, but they make great products. So, but yeah, what they've done with that program, and they're naturally progressing. I hope they play D3 next year, and they'll be a force to be reckoned with because they play together, and they play very well, and it shows. They have a lot of wins under their belt, and a lot of rings. So good for them.
All right, Doss, I got a question. All right, so for the guy who's played in a lot of the divisions, right? So what do they think is the difference between those like upper echelon of D4 teams and then those teams that are kind of always at the bottom? What do you think is that difference?
I think it's the average weekend they go out and play, right? You'll always see the teams that go that extra step to get outside help to help finesse their game. I think it's Wrecking Crew who brings out Marcelo. Like, dude, that is on paper, that's a lower division team that's bringing in this upper echelon of help. But look at them. They're winning everything. Yeah. They won everything, right? And it shows. So the team that goes the extra mile to not only go through the steps or the motions, right, is always going to be the team that's more prepared before they get to the field. They're the team staying in the house and going over game plans rather than, hey, we're going to go out and drink or anything like that, which it used to be, right? So now you're seeing these Division 4, Division 5, Division 3 teams carry themselves as an upper division team, and it shows on paper. They're a lot more successful because their practices aren't wasted time. They're regimented. They're doing their off the break shots. They're doing all these things that upper division teams should be doing or are doing, and they're able to replicate it on the field, and that's bringing success to them. And that's the great part about these programs. Like, you can knock on the DMG D4 teams winning all the time. You could say, I've heard it all the time, right? Oh, the DMG, they ref them, so they let them get away with it. No, bullshit. I want to go home at the end of the day. I don't care who wins. Like, I've been there. I don't want to ref. Like, no one wants to ref. Let's be clear. Getting shot without having a gun in your hand and being able to shoot back is the shittiest thing.
Shit actually hurts.
So, and that's a testament to DMG and what they've done, right? DMG gang. They won a bunch of tournaments this year because they play together. They do the regiment. I mean, Evan, that guy, that kid. I mean, he's a kid. He has put in more work than I ever did in paintball when I was
put in more work than
for the last 20 years. I have not put in that much work.
Yeah,
like that kid.
He's at the field
somewhere.
every weekend. I swear to God, every single weekend. Like.
Yeah,
there is no gaps. Like, and if it's a gap, it's because he's playing a tournament. Like, he spends so much time on paintball, and you see it. Like, the kid is a freaking beast. So
yeah, and so
excited to see where he goes.
That's why you're seeing so much success with these teams, is because they have created this regiment that it pays off. That's why it's awesome to see these like youth programs, the DMG kids, the Hermans, and then now what Scott McDonald's
Infamous
doing
kids.
in the Bay Area, the East Bay Young Guns, or I forgot exactly how it's worded, but I mean, he's got an organization that's nationwide, and he's trying to get all these kids in. And I mean, I believe he's every time I believe he's newer to the sport, and so seeing these adults who are backing these kids in the sport the way they are, and the way that they're taking it this seriously, and they're going to World Cup, and they're competing in the youth division, which I mean, that's a success in all its own, right?
Yeah,
like they had more teams than
it was
Division 2. It was more teams in Division 2.
You're right, and it was the single biggest kids like division event that was ever played. Like, going back in the day, even when, we never really like gave a spotlight for kids to play in a division that was like centered around them. It was just like, well, if you want to play, go play D5, go play D4, have fun. Like, so it was a huge event. I mean, there was a lot of teams in it. Was it at?
It was at my local field though. Like, it was like super small, and it wasn't even like, dude. Okay, if I remember it correctly, it was like capture the flag, but like weird, right? There were 3 flags. It was like boom, 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 and like the 2 star boxes on the side, right? And then like each flag was like 25 points, and the kill was worth like 50. So if you grabbed like all of them, you could like win, right? It was so dumb. So basically, all I would do is fucking run up there, grab all 3 of them, and then bunker the fuck out of him because he was a kid, and you would just hide in the back center, right?
So it was like a one-on-one?
Yeah, it was like a one-on-one Young Guns tournament.
Okay.
Right, and it's like every single kid, they always like kind of sat in the back center, kind of didn't really know, right? But I was still Young Guns, but I still played like some rec ball. We got a little bit familiar, so I would fucking run up the middle, just grab every single flag in a row, and just bunker him. He would never see me coming. So that was just fun when I was a kid.
Hatch had been stomping on fools since he was 6 years old.
No, dude. Then there was that fucking freakazoid 15-year-old that was like a fucking Russian bear agent that fucking picked up a paintball gun and fucked my shit up, dude.
You played against Malloy's like younger brother.
Low key, yeah. And that kid was like a fucking prodigy, but then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take my talent to the fucking NFL or some shit. But whatever. Okay.
You make actual money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the thing is, speaking of Evan and reffing the Sepples, dude, Evan, bro, reffing him is so easy. He's playing like this, bro. Playing like this, he's shooting. He gets bounced. He goes like this. Looks right at us, and I'm like, bruh, easy as fucking.
Did I get hit?
Get out.
He's an honest kid.
Yeah, he goes.
I was gonna say most of the time for me, he'll point at it. He'll literally point right where it is. Yeah, that way I can be fast.
Whole turn.
I mean,
the whole turn. I know the whole turn.
Kid wants to beat you with his one life. He doesn't want extra lives.
Yeah,
Respect
that doesn't
that.
come till later.
That's
when you
true.
start being a little
And then you're like, all
When
right, god
you're the
damn it.
person writing the checks and everything like that, it becomes a little different. You want a
You're a
little
little-
extra life.
You're a little slimier, you know what I'm saying? Gotta get a little slicker through them gaps.
But
True.
here, I'll correct myself with what Scott's done. It's North Bay Young Guns. I'll shout out them.
North Bay, okay.
North Bay,
Yeah,
yeah,
North Bay Young Guns. He's created another network of youth that is just building these players that are hungry. And I mean, by the time all these kids are 20, dude,
So
I'm
Yeah.
done. Like
We're all
they're gonna
done.
be so good. They're gonna be so good. So, but yeah, shout out to them. I mean, this is something that has caught on quickly. The Hermans, the North Bay Young Guns.
Well, and it
and,
definitely, I feel COVID really was a blessing for paintball, which was weird because it was miserable for every other industry on the planet. But I feel like it just brought so many people back into the sport, who maybe they
we
took
still have
2
the
years
paintball
off.
field at the long
but-
weekends,
Yeah,
100%. Dude, honestly, we saw so many people getting back into the sport because, like you said, everything was closed down.
Mhm.
Everything was shut down. And hey, paintball. Hey, you have a mask on. You're for the most
outside,
part,
yeah.
outside, socially distanced, unless
Yeah.
you're like Hatch running someone down. Yeah, I mean it's you have that gap. And it got people off the couch, right? It was literally the capital edge.
Yep, their
saying,
slogan.
Get
Yeah,
off the couch. And it was cool. Like it brought so many people back in, and I still have return customers to this day who they got into it when they were in the middle of COVID, and they've stuck with it. It's cool. It's awesome. It's kind of reignited a lot of players who couldn't afford to play 15, 20 years ago, and now they're all adults, and now they're getting back into it.
Now they have money.
a nice
Free
stuff.
time, bunch
Yeah,
of
it's
free time.
great. Yeah.
Dude,
So-
like COVID-19 at the paintball field did not exist. Right?
Oh, no.
It
No,
almost
not
felt
really.
like you couldn't get sick at a paintball field.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys tried to avoid COVID this way, but I would just eat a little bit of the mud, all that paintball sludge.
Oh
And
god,
that
Yeah,
was my
saved me.
that was my
That shit
vaccine.
saved me.
you were like giving
you're
your
good.
immune system like.
Well, that's what I'm. Hey, shout out to the military for all the crap that you put in my body.
Peanut butter
that
shot,
I
brother.
don't know about, but that I guarantee COVID just entered the body and was like, no,
Nah,
this guy's out.
you're just gonna
so I'm out.
see it.
Later, bud.
No, that's all funny.
God bless the troops.
But yeah, God bless the troops. Fuck, that reminds me of another joke I can't think of right now. But yeah. So I think we're kind of wrapping this up. I've been recording for about hour and 40 minutes now. Ryan, definitely appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for blessing the time, bro.
You could honestly do a solo podcast. I feel like we just need to give you
Monologue,
a
dude.
couple questions
Long
and just
monologue.
let you go. And I mean,
Hey,
it's entertaining
it
though.
always
It's
helps.
great. I love it.
It always helps when you have a little bit of spark, right? I just I could take something and go off on tangents, and that's the greatest thing, right? Is when you have something that you're so passionate about, paintball, military, soccer, stuff like that. It's so easy to talk about. So I appreciate everything you guys have not only asked me, but started, because people listening to this, I hope you give paintball definitely a try if you haven't tried it before. But if you're in the Sacramento area, Capital Edge, Sac Paintball, Extreme Paintball, you have these resources, come try it. But look into Hormesis. It's a great community. But yeah, I mean, you guys led this conversation in great paths. So I just talk too much. That's the big thing.
I guess
Now you're
pretty
good,
much.
bro.
But yeah, so it's my time to talk now because I got a couple things I got to remind you guys about real quick. So first off that docket, as always, the merch store, mafiadigitalmedia.com. Make sure you go check that out. We got all of our latest stuff there from the sidelines, as well as the newest production or Mafia Productions merch. So you can check that out there. We also got Patreon. I should bring this one up first before I mess this up and then have to redo it a whole bunch of times. This is the one that always stumbles me. I don't know why. So I'm going to try to get through it in one take. I swear I'm going to do this. So patreon.com/Mafia Productions. If you guys head over there, you get a couple awesome bonus features. You get access to the show before it comes out for the rest of the audience on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You'll get access to early videos whenever video content comes out and is ready to go. You also, we sometimes do some giveaways and stuff in there if we have some extra merch to hand hand off to people. So yeah, it's definitely, worth your time. Check it out, Mafia, or patreon.com/Mafia Productions. Last couple things with our regular Apple Podcasts and Spotify listeners. So if you're hearing it on those channels, we now have video. We're on the YouTube, so you should probably come check us out over there as well if you want to see anything that we were talking about tonight. But if you still want to listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you just click subscribe on both of those, whichever platform you listen to it on. You'll get downloads right away whenever the podcast is ready to go for you. And then same thing, just leave a rating. That's all you got to do. Real quick, go down to the bottom of the page, hit 5 stars, leave a rating. Nice, quick, and easy. Takes 20 seconds, helps out the podcast a lot, and we really appreciate it. But yeah, guys, I did it. One take. I told you I would get one take this weekend or
Amazing.
This week. I keep saying weekend. I feel like it's Saturday or Sunday still. I don't know why.
I know, right? It's
I
only Tuesday.
wish.
It's Tuesday. God, but
Why does it feel so different? It's like we record on every Tuesday.
I know it's weird. Last thing, we got new content coming this weekend. Me and Hatch are gonna be working on some stuff at tryouts,
Here we
so
go, baby.
hopefully you guys will see that next week. And yeah, so from the sidelines, we did it, guys. Episode 19, first episode of the video. I'd like to thank our guest Ryan Dawes for coming on. I always appreciate having a chance to talk with him about his loves of
Big fan, Dawes.
Belgian
Thank you,
Malwals,
boys.
the Coast Guard, and paintball. It's a collective mix.
It all melts into one. I appreciate
Hey,
it,
bro.
guys. You guys are amazing for having me.
Dawes,
Hell yeah.
I appreciate everything you've taught me because it's like obviously we were talking about like the battles that we used to have, right? I appreciate every time you took me aside and showed me an angle or stuff, the mistake that I made. I always appreciated that. Seriously.
Hey, man. I mean, the camp's got to grow, and you guys have done a great job of picking up everything and picking up where everybody else left off. So,
Thank you,
hey,
brother.
hats off to you guys.
Thank
For
you.
sure.
I appreciate that, bro.
All right,
So
guys.
excited.
Well, it's officially that time for Ryan Dawes, for Austin Kane. Well, technically AK. I don't know why I always give his full name. For AK, for Stephen Hatch, my name is Ryan Mafia Moffitt. This is From the Sidelines, episode 19. Have a good one, guys.
Later.